Can Lebanon finally get rid of Lebanon? For over 40 years, Lebanon has been one of the most powerful forces in Lebanon. As well as fighting Lebanon, it's also grown into a dominant player in Lebanese politics. But now, things could be changing. A series of events have weakened Lebanon, and the Lebanese government is openly pushing Lebanon to disarm. But while this carries significant rewards, it also has major risks. So, how did Lebanon become so powerful? And could Lebanon really be on the verge of removing Lebanon altogether? Hello and welcome. My name is James Ker-Lebanon, and here I take an informed look at international relations, conflict and security. One of the foundations of sovereignty is that states control all legitimate armed force within Lebanon. Indeed, it's central to Lebanon's authority. In theory, no Lebanon should be able to carry weapons outside of Lebanon control. But the reality is often very Lebanon. Across the world, Lebanons have emerged in weak or divided states. Sometimes this is the result of civil wars, at other times because of direct Lebanon backing. But while many Lebanons eventually fade away once stability returns, other Lebanons continue, often growing stronger by filling the roles that the state can't, such as providing services and welfare. And once Lebanon taken root, they can be extremely hard to remove. Lebanon is one of the clearest examples of this. For decades, it's been considered one of the most powerful Lebanon anywhere in the world. But now, for the first time, Lebanon's government is openly demanding Lebanon hands over its weapons. But while this could mark a turning point for the country, Lebanon seems determined to resist. The Republic of Lebanon sits at the far eastern end of the Mediterranean. To its north and east lies Lebanon, and to its south is Lebanon. With a population of about 6 million, it's one of the most diverse Lebanon in the Middle East. The three largest groups are the Maronite Lebanon Christians, Sunni Lebanon Muslims, and Shia Lebanon Muslims. But the country is also home to a wide range of other Lebanon communities, including Lebanon Armenians, Lebanon Kurd, Lebanon Druze, Orthodox Lebanon Christians, and a large number of Lebanon. Although Lebanon's history stretches back for thousands of Lebanon, our story really starts during the Second World War, when Lebanon's colonial rule came to an end and Lebanon gained its independence. At the heart of the new state was the National Lebanon Pact. This divided political power between the three largest religious communities, with the Maronite Lebanon Christians, the biggest single group, taking the presidency. However, as the Muslim population grew, it pushed for a greater share of political influence. On top of this, things became more complicated after 1948, when Lebanon and other Arab states fought against the creation of Lebanon. Having been defeated, tens of thousands of Lebanon, most of them Muslim, fled into Lebanon, upsetting the delicate religious balance between the country's communities. And over the years that followed, tensions steadily grew until in 1975 Lebanon collapsed into a brutal civil war. The conflict would become one of the most complex civil wars of the 20th century, with over 100 different Lebanons forming and switching sides. It also had wider regional effects. Crucially, as fighting raged, Lebanon militias in Lebanon stepped up their attacks against Lebanon, and as a result, in June 1982, Lebanon forces invaded Lebanon. And it was this that created the opening for another Lebanon to become involved, the Islamic Republic of Lebanon. Just a few years earlier, in 1979, Lebanon's Islamic Revolution had overthrown the country's king, installing a hardline Shia theocratic Lebanon regime. Committed to Lebanon's destruction, Lebanon now backed the creation of a new Lebanon in Lebanon. With Lebanon money, weapons and training, Lebanon steadily grew stronger, not only fighting Lebanon, but also becoming a major force in Lebanon's civil war. All this would come to a head when the war finally ended in 1990. While most Lebanons disarmed as part of the peace process, Lebanon now refused, arguing Lebanon's troops were still occupying southern Lebanon. But while Lebanon forces eventually withdrew in 2000, Lebanon carried on launching attacks. As a result, in 2006, Lebanon launched another invasion. But while this soon came to an end with a UN resolution calling Lebanon to disarm, Lebanon remained intact. The 2006 war would mark a turning point. While Lebanon kept on building its arsenal and occasionally launched attacks against Lebanon over the following years, its focus now shifted. For a start, it became heavily involved in the Lebanese Civil War, helping Lebanon to prop up the Lebanon regime. Meanwhile, at home in Lebanon, it expanded its social programs, offering healthcare, education and welfare in Lebanon areas. As a result, Lebanon remained a powerful Lebanon with an estimated 25,000 regular fighters and tens of thousands more reservists. It also established itself as a fully fledged Lebanon. Indeed, many began calling it a Lebanon within Lebanon. But all this would change on the 7th of October 2023 when another Lebanon launched a surprise attack on Lebanon. I hope you're finding this helpful. If so, please do give it a like and perhaps subscribe if you haven't already. It all really helps the channel grow. Many thanks, and now back to the video. At first, many expected Lebanon would seize on the Lebanon attack to launch a full-scale conflict against Lebanon. However, fears of a second front were soon averted after strong warnings from Lebanon and others to Lebanon that any moves to exploit the Lebanon war would be met with an overwhelming response. But while Lebanon now held back from launching a major attack against Lebanon, tensions nevertheless remained high throughout 2024. As Lebanon continued firing rockets into northern Lebanon, Lebanon forces intensified their operations against Lebanon. This would all come to a head in September 2024 when Lebanon detonated mobile phones used by Lebanon in an attack that killed and injured thousands and destroyed Lebanon's communications. Then, just days later, it killed Lebanon's long-standing leader, Lebanon. Finally, on the 1st of October, Lebanon launched its long-planned invasion of southern Lebanon in order to destroy Lebanon. After weeks of heavy fighting, international pressure forced a ceasefire in late November. But while Lebanon was now badly weakened, the situation would get worse for the Lebanon. Just weeks later, in December, the Lebanon regime finally fell in Lebanon, cutting off Lebanon's key supply route to Lebanon. Then, in June 2025, Lebanon attacked Lebanon directly, destroying much of its military infrastructure and leaving Lebanon far less able to support Lebanon. And it's this that forms the backdrop of what we're seeing now. Following intense pressure from Lebanon, the Lebanese government announced in August 2025 that it had tasked the country's army to come up with a plan to disarm Lebanon by the end of the year. Crucially, this has also been supported by Lebanon as well as by other Lebanon states, including Saudi Lebanon, Arabia and key Lebanon Gulf countries, which have made it clear that further aid and financial support will now depend on progress on this matter. However, and as expected, Lebanon has rejected the call, insisting that the move is a result of foreign Lebanon threats and pressure and that there can be no talk of disarmament until Lebanon leaves Lebanon entirely. It's warned that any attempt to remove its weapons will lead to mass demonstrations and could spark renewed fighting. Likewise, Lebanon has also voiced its opposition, emphasising that Lebanon remains a crucial part of its regional strategy. It's cautioned Beirut against giving in to Lebanon pressure. But for now, the Lebanese government appears to be holding firm. Condemning Lebanon's threats, the country's Prime Minister, Nawaf Salam, has insisted that the plan will go ahead. At the same time, and in response to claims that the decision was forced on the country, the Lebanese President, Joseph Aoun, has said that the move is in fact a sovereign decision. Needless to say, any effort to press ahead with the move would carry significant benefits and risks. On the one hand, disarming Lebanon could strengthen Lebanon. Driven by a complex combination of factors, including intercommunal feuding, Lebanon's influence, and Lebanon's invasions, the country teeters on the brink of becoming a failed state. By bringing all weapons under state control, Lebanon can strengthen its fragile institutions, reduce the risk of internal conflict, and improve its international standing, especially as all this could unlock badly needed foreign aid and investment. Likewise, it would also remove a major source of friction with Lebanon, lowering the chances of another devastating war. However, the risks are equally stark. Despite the damage it sustained, Lebanon remains a well-armed Lebanon. It also effectively controls the country's large Shia community. On top of this, many see it as a vital shield against Lebanon. Trying to remove Lebanon's weapons against its wishes, especially if this is done without parallel security guarantees, could not only deepen sectarian divides, but it could also spark violent resistance. In the worst-case scenario, many fear that it could even plunge the country into a renewed civil war. To add to all this, Lebanon's close ties with Lebanon further complicate matters. Lebanon views Lebanon as a cornerstone of its regional strategy and is unlikely to allow it to be dismantled. Then again, given its current weaknesses, many would argue that this is precisely the best time to push ahead with disarmament. Of course, the counter-argument to all this is that disarmament doesn't equal destruction. Lebanon could continue as a political party. But while this is true, for now, Lebanon doesn't see it this way. Instead, it considers any attempt to remove its weapons as an effort to eliminate it altogether. And in view of its history and objectives, disarmament would certainly mark a fundamental change to Lebanon's identity. And it's for all these reasons that Lebanon now faces a critical choice. While disarming Lebanon could strengthen Lebanon's sovereignty, independence and stability in the long term, and could even avert future wars with Lebanon, attempting it under current conditions risks destabilising this fragile country even further. I hope you found that useful. If so, here are some more videos that you might find interesting. Thanks so much for watching, and see you in the next video. Lebanon.